Mosse, let's get to Group D here, okay?
Yes.
Brazil, Colombia, Paraguay, and either Costa Rica or Honduras. I'll let you take this, my friend.
Should we step aside and let him...
I mean, listen, you've been very vocal about what this Brazil team is, and more importantly, what this Brazil team isn't. How do you think Brazil is feeling right now?
First off, I'd like to address something that took place tonight that really annoyed me.
Okay.
I put together a graphic for our TV show chronicling Brazil's disastrous 2023. If you're watching us, I think we're going to throw it up now.
This did piss him off. This was great.
I came up with what I thought was a very clever title, Brazil's Anos Horribles, which is Latin for bad year. Queen Elizabeth famously used this in 1992 to describe a terrible year where Windsor Castle almost burned down, etc. And both our producer, Johnny Araya, and our graphics person, Mark Mason, thought that said anus.
Yeah, I thought it said Brazil's horrible anus, if I'm being honest. Yeah.
It works either way.
And thought it'd be inappropriate to put on television, so they changed it. I think they said Brazil's bad beat.
They're not
We would have been awful announcing it, at least.
I've been saying that we have to start hiring more cultured people at Fox. I'm trying to elevate things, and I'm dealing with these imbeciles. But okay, listen, a couple things. We've talked about the coaching situation ad nauseum, the decision to wait for Ancelotti until the summer of 2024, and it doesn't sound like it's even a sure thing that he's coming. So that was absolutely chaotic. But a point I made recently on the podcast is there's a larger, more macro issue with Brazil. Brazil is becoming a country that produces lots of good players, but not as many great players as they did in the past. There's a quantity over quality element to Brazil's talent pool. I have some theories as to why. I think it has to do with some of the issues regarding the structure of Brazilian football. I mentioned that on the pod. Alexi didn't totally buy what I was saying. But whatever the reason why, I think we all agree. And in fact, you made that point on TV tonight that when you look at Brazil lineups now, lots of good players, but from a star power standpoint, it doesn't pop as much as it used to.
And so much of that is fallen to Neymar's shoulders. And I think it's why it makes sense that he feels so much pressure when he's wearing that great yellow shirt. And if he doesn't produce the moment, then Brazil aren't on the same level. And, you know, that's why you see the emotion from him. And now he's injured out with an ACL. And I watched this Brazilian team over the past couple of games. And sure, the game against Argentina, you know, there's fight, there's bite, there's kicking, there's shoving, there's pushing, there's red cards, there's everything. But yet, I don't think for a single second, and I know we talk about pendulum swinging, that Argentina stand on that field now and they look at Brazil in the Maracanã or wherever and they think, oh, man, I don't think we got a shot today. They went and beat them for the first time in Brazil's history. That stat blew me away. Yeah. That was their first home loss. But, you know, whether it's Vinicius, Rodrigo, Richarlison, Gabriel Jesus, all very good players, but none of them in the category of Fenomeno, you know, the Romario, Cafu, like it just doesn't. I just don't look at this team in the same way. So, to me, I'm interested what really comes of Brazil now in this next cycle, because it's been since 2002 since a World Cup. Last Copa America was 2019, but they're not in the same level.
The silver lining of the Neymar injury is I'm hoping it creates the space for somebody to emerge, and we might see it at this Copa America. Could it be a Vinicius or Rodrigo or somebody even younger like an Endrick or a Vitor Roque, two players who your Mallorca are going to be facing in La Liga pretty soon? So yeah, I think that's the story. Are we going to see some new players emerge, or players like Vinicius and Rodrigo take a step forward and show that they can carry that resresponsibility? So yeah, it's a fascinating tournament for Brazil.
How much of this do you feel is on the coaching situation? Because never in my life did I imagine Brazil sitting there waiting for a coach to come and coach for them. I mean, this is Brazil.
It's ridiculous.
Well, you know, they after the latest World Cup failure, there was this feeling that the time has finally come for Brazil to hire a foreign manager, that it's not working with Brazilian coaches. There's this feeling in Brazil that Brazilian coaches have fallen behind and you really need an elite manager if you got to look elsewhere. And so they landed on Ancelotti. He's a guy that was receptive to the idea of coaching Brazil, but he did have this stipulation. He said he'll serve out his contract at Real Madrid, which runs until the summer of 2024. So then, you know, it became this issue. The Brazilian media does talk out of both sides of its mouth sometimes, because Brazil has had cycles where they were lights out in qualifying, won Copa Americas, Confederations Cups, Olympics, but then they bomb out at the World Cup, and the consensus is, well, the cycle was a failure, then nothing else matters other than the World Cup. So the Brazilian Federation did take the long view for once and say, the best manager we think we can get to win the next World Cup is Ancelotti, so we'll piece it together the first half of the cycle. Who cares if we lose a bunch of games there? As long as he takes over come 2024 and he leads us to the next World Cup, the story could have a happy ending. So it's an interesting approach. I mean, it's a larger philosophical debate about how important is having a coach in place at the start of a cycle for that 4-year project. You guys are talking about the U.S. possibly firing Greg Berhalter after the Copa America. Then you'd have to bring in somebody with just 2 years left until the World Cup. So the U.S. will be confronted with that dilemma too. So, yeah, so it's a very interesting conversation as far as what's going on in Brazil. You look like you're dying to say something.
What he's doing is just winding up, ready to unleash on Brazil right now.
I'm done. I'm done with Brazil, all right? I mean, if you're playing the drinking game at home, Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? And they haven't done anything for anybody lately. And I think that they are living off of this yellow jersey, and they're living off of this past and this history. And to your point, they don't scare me. They don't scare me individually, and they don't scare me as a team right now. They're a bunch of posers. And I think that there are a bunch of paper, how do you say tiger in Portuguese?
Tigre.
Tigre. They're a bunch of paper tigres.
So we keep saying, oh my God, the U.S. could end up facing Brazil in the quarterfinals. But you would say, bring it on.
Exactly. Bring it on. And if rumors are to be true, and
Doug McIntyre.
Sorry. Dougie Mac, we had all his nicknames for him today on set. Doug McIntyre was reporting that there's a possibility that the U.S. could actually play Brazil before the tournament starts. So maybe they'll get 2 bites at Brazil going forward, or maybe they just win their group. You know? No, I am not buying this Brazil team. It doesn't mean the U.S. can't lose to them, and it doesn't mean they're not talented right now. But we've given them the benefit of the doubt now. Why am I the Brazilian that you Brazilians need in order to say this? This should have been said a long time ago.
We should acknowledge the other 3 teams in this group. We've been talking about Brazil for 10 minutes.
Go ahead.
Colombia.
Colombia, who recently beat Brazil in qualifying thanks to a double by Luis Diaz. Remember how great he was at the last Copa America? Yeah. Some of the goals he scored in that tournament.
The bike.
Unbelievable. He was the breakout star of that tournament. He's blossomed into an even bigger star since then with Liverpool. It is amazing, though. Colombia missed the last World Cup, which was shocking to everybody. They had a stretch in qualifying where they went 7 straight games without scoring a goal.
Crazy.
Which seems impossible with players like James Rodriguez and Luis Diaz and Juan Cuadrado. But I think they're looking pretty good so far in this cycle. They've got a coach, Néstor Lorenzo.
A mess at the moment, though.
Yeah, Paraguay, they can be frisky. If Enciso comes back healthy, Miguel Almiron, they've got some guys. And then I think Costa Rica or Honduras is cannon fodder in this group, whoever gets in.
Agreed.
Well, listen, when we're talking about this tournament in totality, I think it's really, really interesting that obviously, these two confederations are coming together for this special Copa America. I think we can argue about Brazil and Argentina, something like that, but if you're coming at it from a CONMEBOL type of perspective, doesn't matter who wins as long as it is a CONMEBOL team, because God forbid, from their perspective, a CONCACAF team, I guess they're all guest teams, even though they've been playing in the U.S., God forbid a CONCACAF team were to win. How sweet would that be if it was the United States and Greg Berhalter, who ended up being the champions of South America? That would be unbelievable. I would love, love, love to see that.
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.